There's a lot of paid software out there that is expensive and usually comes with a paid subscription as well, so you continue to pay for it month after month or year after year. And so I want to go over a couple of free alternatives, open source, that you can use to get rid of these pesky paid subscriptions. The software I'm going to be showing replacements for today would include Adobe Premiere Pro for your video editing, Photoshop for image editing, any paid video players such as Power DVD, WinRAR for file compression and decompression, and the Microsoft Office suite. So I just want to show you guys how much these cost. So if you're going to get Premiere Pro and Photoshop kind of bundled together, as well as every other Adobe product, you can get the Creative Cloud Pro license for $70 a month. And just keep in mind, this is annual billed monthly, so you're locked into a whole year. You cannot cancel at any time without an extra cancellation fee. Now, if you just want to get the Premiere Pro license by itself, that's $22.99 per month, again, annual billed monthly, or the Photoshop license for $22.99 as well. And again, this is annual billed monthly, right? So you're locked in for a year. You can't cancel without an extra cancellation fee. And if you're getting both, so you're paying $46 a month, basically, to get both of those. It's pretty ridiculous. It gets really expensive really fast. And just to give an example here, if you want to get the actual month-to-month, where you can cancel at any time without a fee, you have to pay quite a bit more, $34.49 a month for Premiere Pro. It's crazy how expensive this is. And that's just for one piece of software. If you want to buy WinRAR, a license for one user is $29. And since I specifically mentioned Power DVD, if you want to get the paid version of this software, it's $79.99. And if you were to buy the Microsoft Office suite or Microsoft 365 for a home user, for a personal account, it would be $100 a year, or for a family plan, it would be $130 a year. So if you add up the costs for all of these pieces of software, you are spending $736.74 in the first year. And I say the first year because keep in mind, some of these are subscriptions and you're going to have recurring yearly costs to these. So now let's get into the open source alternatives. And the first one we're going to go over is Kdenlive, our alternative for Premiere Pro. Kdenlive was started back in 2002 and is available on FreeBSD, Mac, Windows, and Linux. Okay, so here we are in Kdenlive. This is your UI here. This is your project bin where you put your clips. And then over here, the clip monitor, this is where you can preview your clips, kind of play through them and see what's in them. Right here is the project monitor. You switch over to this to play through your whole project that's on your timeline. So if I just take this clip that I brought in and put it on my timeline, and now in the project monitor, we can play through it. Today I want to talk about something that's been bothering me for a while. And there we go. So the shortcuts are a little bit different from Premiere Pro or other softwares that you might be comfortable with. So if you want to cut something on your timeline, if you want to cut a clip, you press X to switch to cut mode, and then you click as normal to cut it up. And then to go back to your selection tool, you press S, and now I can move things and drag them around. And for the things that I normally work with Premiere Pro, it's got pretty much everything. Going into blur, there's a Gaussian blur tool. If you want to add that on, you just grab it and drag it onto the clip you want to give Gaussian blur to. And just make sure you click on the clip you're working with down here in your timeline, and then the effect will show up here in your effect composition stack kind of tab here. And so you can animate just like in Premiere Pro, right? So I can start with 0 and 0 here, and then I can drag it, say, oh, I don't know, 10 frames, 30 frames, something like that, 15 frames. We'll go 15 frames ahead, add another keyframe here, and switch that over to, say, 50 on each. And then we can watch that animate, and see now it's transitioning to blurred. I just deleted that. And then other things you might work with, I work with transform a lot. So going into this transform distort perspective, and then just a general transform here. If I drag that down, now it gives me access to, you know, position, opacity even within transform, and scale, and rotation. So something you might do quite often is, you know, a quick zoom in for effect on someone's face, right? So we start here, we go over maybe like 15 frames, we add a keyframe, and we jump in maybe 10%. And so let's play that out. And that's how it looks, right? And it works similarly. It seems to automatically give some kind of smoothing to the animation, which is not by default in Premiere Pro. You kind of have to add the smoothing effect to your frames. But that's just one little difference I've noticed. Another thing I do kind of fairly often is adding text to the screen. Sometimes if I screw up and forget something, or I accidentally omitted something, so I add kind of like a disclaimer or a little note at the bottom, right, in text. So there's kind of two ways that you can add text. One way is using the subtitles, and it's not really meant for this, I don't think. It's what it's labeled as, right? It's for subtitles, so it should be adding text so people can read along with what you're saying, but you could use it for that. So over here, there's this little subtitles tab that I have open, and you can find all these too by going to, that's right, in the view tab here at the very top. You would just find subtitles down here and enable it, but you would just click down here to add a subtitle, and then you just edit your subtitle like this is a subtitle, and click out of it to see it update on your little preview here. You can change your font up here. Maybe you want it to be Arial for kind of more default look. You want it to be very thick and very visible, so maybe a 72 size here, and click OK. And so there are changes they're showing there. And if you want to add some stylings to it, just this little style button right here, you click that, and say you want to thicken the outline. So right now we only have a 1 pixel outline. We want to up that to maybe, I don't know, 15 pixels. Click OK. Okay, so that's pretty thick. Maybe some of you like it like that. I don't particularly. Maybe back down to like 10. Yeah, that's reasonable. And so this tool works pretty good for adding text to the screen, but the only problem is, so far as I can tell, you can't animate the text itself. You can't change the size of it on the fly in an animation. You can't fade out the opacity with animation, something like that. And I've only messed around with this software just briefly in preparation for this video, so I might be completely wrong about this. You might be able to animate it somewhere. It's just not immediately obvious. So then to have text that you want to animate, you have to use something completely different. And it's kind of hard to find. I mean, if you don't know where it is, it's not immediately obvious. I had to like look it up. So you go to the project tab at the top and add a title clip. And this title clip, now then we can add text to it. And if we want to get it centered here, here's the centering buttons. And here's our text, right? You can change it, of course. I'm just going to leave it default to show you real quick. It has the same features as the subtitling, plus some. There's even more that you can do. So like, for example, here's our outline that we were messing with. You can change that size as well. You can change the font and everything as well. Now, I believe you want down here at the bottom for background, you want it to be checkered so that it's essentially like a PNG background, so you can see yourself still behind the text you put on screen. So when we're done, we click Create Title. And so it shows up like this, and it might immediately make you think, well, Claudius, what the heck? It just covered my face. No, this is still showing down here. It immediately switched over to the clip monitor, and it's showing the clip that's down in our project bin now. So you actually have to take this, put it onto your timeline, and switch over to your project monitor. And so there, now we see our title on the screen where we put it in terms of centering. And now with our title on the screen, we can do the same sort of things. We can drag down transform, and we can make it animate to become bigger or smaller or fade out with opacity. This is what you would use if you want to have text on your screen and be able to animate it with these sorts of effects. And so when you're done editing and you're ready to render, you just go up to Project, Render here, and over in Render Project tab right here, just MP4, H.264 AAC, this setting here, I just leave it on that and render to file. And it's showing this, do you want to overwrite? Because I did this before, so I'll do it just to show you. And there we go, it rendered successfully. We can close this. Then if I open up my desktop, here's my rendered file. Today I want to talk about something that's been... And there you go. Next up is our alternative to Photoshop, and many of you may have heard of this one already. It's GIMP. GIMP first came out in 1996. That's crazy. That's only 4 years after I was born. So this is GIMP. And it will actually not look like this by default. I actually added a configuration file to customize GIMP a little bit and make it look like Photoshop. And you can get this for yourself as well. It's called Photo GIMP on GitHub. And so it's on GitHub, right? So it's open source and it's highly rated, so it can be trusted, in my opinion. And so it just changes the layout and puts all the kind of major tools on the left, just like with Photoshop. It looks a little different, obviously. It's not gonna look exactly the same. But here, if we open a file, let's just do the stock photo that I got earlier. And you can do things similar as to what you would do in Photoshop, right? So you do your selection, you can crop the photo, crop to selection. If you want to color pick something, oh, I like this pink here, you grab it with the color picker. And you can see down here on the color patch here that I'm selecting those colors, right? So, oh, I like this pink, I grab that pink, right? And so, yeah, it's got most of the tools that you would be familiar with from Photoshop, right? So you've got your lasso tool, you can create a custom selection here, an interesting shape that you might need or want. Some things that might be difficult for people is it doesn't have as many of the fancy tools that you might be familiar with from Photoshop, such as select and then subject. In Photoshop, that one is so nice, especially for pictures of myself for thumbnails, right? So in Photoshop, I can do select subject and it will find me and be usually pretty accurate. This one doesn't have all of that, or maybe it does, but I'm just not familiar with where it is. Just playing around a little bit, this fuzzy select tool here on the left, it does kind of do the select subject that I'm familiar with from Photoshop. So if you click on this and click on something you want to select, I was trying to select the black of the screen, and there's a little threshold bar here that you can change to select more or less, and it works decently, but not like great. And there's also options up here like adding to the current selection. You can add more stuff, right? You can clean it up. So it does kind of get the job done. And of course, you can add text, right? You could type hello or something like that and have text on the screen. There's blurring and smudging. There's a gradient option. There's bucket fill, right? There's your brush or pencil, airbrush even. You're going to be able to do a lot of image manipulation with this. It's just not going to be quite as powerful as Photoshop. And there's also some third-party stuff that you can get. I was looking into this, and there's one called Gmic, something like that you can install, and it expands on your capabilities with GIMP. Next up is our free alternative to WinRAR, which is 7-Zip. 7-Zip was created back in 1999 and is an absolutely fantastic alternative to WinRAR. It does basically everything WinRAR does, and sometimes even better in some cases. So I just want to show you guys how easy 7-Zip is to use. It incorporates right into your file explorer. So when I have this folder that I created on my desktop, I'm testing compression, right? And I put 2 images in here. If I just go to my desktop, right click on the folder, I get a 7-Zip context menu here. That's what I'm talking about. And you can just compress it right from here. And there's 2 options. You can put it to their 7Z, their proprietary kind of file type, or you can just put it to a zip. And so I'll do that here to show you. And it is that easy. Just a right click, you find the right option, 1 click, and it compresses for you. And it's not going to be huge compression gains here because, again, we're just doing 2 files, 2 images inside of a folder. So we get 5.49 megabytes on the compressed version. On the full version here, it's 5.62. But yeah, 7-Zip is a great tool. So next up is our Power DVD alternative, and really just any video player alternative, because VLC Media Player, that's the one I'm talking about here, it has so many video formats available to it. It's awesome. I can play my MP4s, my MKVs here, my M4Vs, my AVIs, all of them. Let me just open up one of these to show you. So here we are. This is the interface. I turned down the audio so that it's not distracting. It does have audio. The audio works, right? But so this is the interface. If you have, for example, a Japanese movie, you would go up here to audio and audio track, and you would select either the English or Japanese that you want. And then if you want subtitles, you would go to subtitle track, and then select the appropriate subtitles. So another cool thing about VLC Media Player, it's not just a media player. It can also convert files for you. So if you go to Media and then Convert Save, you can actually bring in files here. And if it's, for example, a movie, you can include a subtitle file and you can convert that to another file type. So it's a pretty powerful tool. And the last one I want to show you is probably the biggest alternative because of how widespread the kind of corporate offering is. And that would be LibreOffice replacing that Microsoft 365 or, Microsoft Office suite. LibreOffice was created in 2010 as a fork of the OpenOffice tree, and it's a very powerful suite of tools. It gives you access to a replacement of everything pretty much from the Microsoft Office suite. And so I just want to show you really briefly. So, right, this is LibreOffice Writer. So this is replacing Microsoft Word, of course. This is LibreOffice Calc, which replaces Microsoft Excel. This is LibreOffice Impress, which replaces Microsoft PowerPoint. And this is LibreOffice Draw, which replaces Microsoft Visio. So what'd you think, guys? I don't know. I think some of these free open source alternatives to these paid products, these products that have subscriptions that cost hundreds of dollars a year, I think some of them are pretty good, especially for being free. A free price tag is always pretty appealing to me. Well, let me know what you guys think, what you think of these products. If you've used them before, maybe they're frustrating, maybe they don't have quite as much, utility or features as the paid alternative. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.